Hey everyone, today we will be unboxing Gloomhaven 2nd Edition. This has just arrived to me here in the UK. I know lots of people are waiting for their fulfillment right now as I'm posting this video. But what we're going to do is we're going to do a completely blind open here. It's still sealed. I haven't even looked inside myself yet. And we're just going to go through it because a lot of you guys asked me to do this. We're interested in me doing it and giving my first impressions of what's inside the box. So I've got Gloomhaven 2nd Edition here. I've also got the solo scenarios, is something that I also went for as well. Highly recommend these if you can get them. And also I went for the removable sticker set just because I might want to play the game multiple times. This is definitely not something that I would recommend that everybody gets, but if you are thinking about playing the game multiple times and kind of worried a little bit more about that kind of legacy element of whether or not the game is replayable, this is a really good shout. Okay, so let's get into it. So first off, let's look at the box itself. You can see the art on the cover is basically kind of like it's very different, but it's also the same, if that kind of makes sense. Is my first impression. So it's very much the same kind of scene that was in the original. You know, with Jack Sarah here, who's one of the kind of main kind of characters in the game. Here in the middle with obviously her bodyguards, and then also like the market scene here as well. So it's a very, it's a very fitting scene. And to be honest, if you put it up against the other Gloomhaven box, apart from the stylistic art differences here, there's not too much to go on. In terms of the other sides of the box, so it's very heavy. So obviously got the usual kind of stuff on here. So we've got pictures of all the different monsters and stuff on the sides of the box here. Pictures of the different classes on the other side of the box. This is basically the same as what the original Gloomhaven box looked like, obviously with all the new artwork. And yeah, there again. And then on the back, swing that round. On the back, we have you know, the usual information that you've got, pictures of the game and stuff like that. The first thing that I noticed about this, because I haven't opened this, it's still sealed, we'll open it in a second, but the first thing that I really noticed about this box to me was the lack of any mention really that this is a 2nd edition version of the game. They very much just skated over that. So what I will say is that if you are someone who is in the market for Gloomhaven, make sure that you are getting the right version. Now, I'm sure there's probably SKU differences and things like that, right? There's probably some sort of difference here, and I'm sure retailers will be fairly honest with you, but it's just one of those little things that I just thought was interesting, that they didn't actually put that this is Gloomhaven 2nd edition. It's just Gloomhaven. So obviously the way they feel about this is that it really is the kind of an iteration of Gloomhaven. It's not meant to be necessarily compared to the 1st edition, if that kind of makes sense. I just find it very interesting that obviously they've made that as an active choice to not put that information on there. But of course the artwork is different, and I'm sure that the SKU will be different as well. But it's just one of those things that I thought, might be something to look out for if you are in the market for an aftermarket. You didn't get in through the Kickstarter version of this game. So let's jump into it, shall we? So there's just some tabs. There was no wrap or anything, so it's just tabs to get in. Okay. Oh, I'll tell you what, it's as heavy as the first one, I'll tell you that much. Maybe even heavier. Right, let's try and lift this off. Oh. Okay, so little bit of packing foam there. Actually, there's some space in the box. That's surprising. Okay, so get rid of that. So what we've got first. So welcome to Gloomhaven. Attention, read this before you do anything else. Okay, so this is kind of like an organizational thing. Frosthaven had this, which was really good. So when you open Frosthaven, you kind of get this and it teaches you, okay, right, before you do anything, this is how we're going to organize the game, because yeah, this is not a game that you want to open on the first night you're going to play it. You're definitely going to open it ahead of time, organize it, get everything ready before your first session for sure. So yeah, good to have something there though, where you're actually going to get a bit more of a detailed explanation of what things are and how to store them in the insert. That's really nice actually. Lots of nice clear pictures as well. That's really good. Definitely a step up from the first one, but I said this kind of thing was in Frosthaven, so kind of not surprised to see it here, as well as a, I mean, I prescribe to the fact that this is a very ambitious way of trying to do it. I can't remember, like once I've opened Gloomhaven and I've started playing it, and Frosthaven as well, I have never managed to get it back into the box. I mean, a lot of that is because, you know, I don't want to maybe put everything back exactly where it is because I want to pull it out for my next scenario quickly. So yeah, but it's nice to see that there is at least a diagram here to give you that insight. Puzzle book, obviously something that, you know, a little bit controversial potentially from Frosthaven, the puzzle book, not to everyone's liking. Gloomhaven had its own puzzle book as well, so it was very much like an iteration of that idea. So we won't be opening this, of course, because this is spoiler stuff. We're not going to be opening anything that would be considered a spoiler, so we won't be doing that. But puzzle book looks nice, though. I would say. I think it looks like a nice nice artwork. Rule book, trusty rule book. My rule book for Gloomhaven is completely in tatters now, so this is I'm kind of glad to just have another kind of definitive edition version of the rule book, which is great to see. Yeah, very much kind of like what we're expecting. Looks a little bit more like Frosthaven, I would say, like in the layout. Which again, I think Frosthaven's rulebook was fantastic, and so was the campaign book. So I'm very happy to see, you know, those sort of learnings, if you like, from that come into this game for sure. It's a kind of like a definitive Gloomhaven version, if you like. Yeah, looks really nice. I mean, it's a rulebook. What more can be said about a rulebook? It says the rules, and it looks good, and is laid out very cleanly by the looks of things. So this definitely looks like a lot more of an interesting rule read than the original version. The original version of Gloomhaven is a lot of brown. That rulebook is a lot of brown, a lot of text, not very many images. So this is, yeah, I mean, miles away a better rulebook for sure. Next up, what's this? What is campaign book? Some kind of campaign book? Section book. Okay, so this will be, again, we won't go too much into this because this is, I wouldn't say it's spoilers. You can always flip through the section book, but essentially this is showing you how to, like it's a complementary book that you use along with the campaign book for the different scenarios. That's all I'll say. So it'll tell you like what's going on, what are the rewards, stuff like that. So often you need to look up things in the section book. So again, we won't go through that too much, but this was what was introduced in Frosthaven. So they've obviously brought it across again. So another thing from Frosthaven that they've kind of brought across. Scenario book as well. This is, okay, yeah, very much like the Frosthaven book. Very, very much. I really like these books. I know that people also like the map books as well. I personally haven't used them, but I feel like these are excellent. They always have been, and it looks like there's a few small changes to the way that they've kind of typed it out a little bit. The formatting maybe slightly, but maybe I'm just imagining things. But it looks really good, I would say. This looks great. Lots of images as well, so yeah, again, we're not going to dig too much into that because it's, you know, you don't want to spoil lots of scenarios for yourself. Stickers. Okay, so we've got lockout stickers. Okay, enhancement stickers. Okay, and then we got achievement stickers. Very much like what you had in the original printing of Gloomhaven, but these are different. These look a lot nicer, I would say. A lot nicer. Slightly stylistically different, but when you achieved different things across your campaign, you'll get to use these, so that's really cool. Campaign sheet. I did see today, actually, it's funny, I was setting up to record this video and I saw that there was an update on the Pledge Manager, or the Kickstarter, an update about there being a printing error on the campaign sheet. I guess it wouldn't be a Gloomhaven campaign without some kind of printing error. I mean, I don't think a single version of the game has ever come with like completely 100% correct. However, I think there's a few things to do with adding events. So when you unlock classes or you retire classes, you're supposed to be adding events, and essentially they haven't put that information on here. So there is now a new campaign sheet that you can download and print for yourself. I mean, this is just an A4 piece of paper, so it's not really a hardship. So you can go and do that. Probably either look through the actual crowdfunding campaign on the Festival of Gloomhaven to find the update and the link, but I'm sure someone will post it on Board Game Geek as well if you need that. But that's something to note, and say that literally just broke this morning as I was setting up to do this video, so I would have no clue otherwise. So at least we now know. Punchboards. Oh, these are nice punchboards. Yeah, really nice. Oh, and you've got the, I don't think you had this in the, I think this was something that you had in Jaws of the Lion, where you had the kind of, the names of you had kind of like the initiative track that you could lay out with actual like little pieces for the enemies and for yourself. So you actually kind of lay out the initiative track. I don't think that was in the original Gloomhaven. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it wasn't. I think Jaws of the Lion introduced it. But yeah, looking pretty good. New condition. This is a new condition. This wasn't in the original game. That's cool. And yeah, some other bits in there. So let's just go through these. Look nice. I'll punch a few of these actually. Let's punch a few of these tiles, because these are the ones I always found were the troublesome ones when I got my original copy. And my original copy of Frosthaven had warped tiles, and it was these that did it. So these feel pretty good actually, I would say. Like, that seems good. I'll pop it out from the other one, but I mean, they're the same usual kind of thickness, but they feel good. The artwork as well has had a bit of a small change by the looks of things. Maybe made it a little bit more kind of detailed by the looks of things. I think the basic Gloomhaven tiles were a little bit like bland in places when they could elaborate. Jaws of the Lion, they did a really good job of that because of course it was a book. So in Jaws of the Lion, each scenario looked really cool because of course it was kind of like tailored to that scenario. Then in Frosthaven, I think they did a good job of kind of keeping the modular tiles but introducing those elements. So yeah, I mean, tiles, they are not warped. Hooray! I am so excited that they're not warped. I think I've had warped tiles of every single Haven game that I've had so far, so that is good. That one is another really good quality one as well. So this punch board as well, looks like we've got Ward. Did they introduce Ward into the game? I guess they must have. So there's a new condition there that wasn't in the original version of Gloomhaven. We've got damage counters as well, doors, all sorts of stuff. So most of these punch boards look to be pretty much the same, just as in like a smattering of everything. They've got just a bit of everything on them. Okay, there's a big tile. Let's get a big tile out. That's always the fun part. Ooh. Oh yeah. Nice punch as well. Nice punch. Not getting any like annoying bits coming off of it. It's coming very cleanly off the punch board. Oh yeah, that's great. Ooh, I like that as well. See the artwork on that with a skull in the middle? That's cool. Yeah, these are perfect. These are absolutely perfect. That's great to see. That's really, really great to see. What else have we got? Another one. Lots of similar kind of stuff. Maybe we should punch some of the smaller tokens just to see how they feel. Although I'm a little bit worried because now once I start punching, I won't be able to stop. So I have to be a bit careful. But the little ones, yeah, they're good too. Nice, and they're pretty thick, pretty chunky actually. So the tokens were never really an issue. They've always been good. I've always thought that the Haven games have had good tokens. The problem is that most people end up not using a lot of the stuff because we all end up using apps. So usually a lot of this stuff ends up not really being used, but which is unfortunate, but it has to be there, right? Yeah, it's good quality. Yeah, this is just coming straight loose. That just came loose to my hand there. Another nice tile there. Like a sword or something in there. You can see that there. Yeah, these tiles are nice, really nice. Definitely a step up. And like I said, I mean, the main thing for me is they are actually, honestly, not bent, which is, yeah, that's a huge thing. Right, what else have we got here? So these are just the containers. So these are the containers that you use to hold all of the stuff that you've punched. You got a big one there, and you got a small one inside. Is that taped? No. Okay. Yeah, so you got a little one for like your condition counters and stuff like that. And then you got a big one for your monster cards and abilities and things like that, I expect. But again, if you go through that sheet, it will tell you how to organize everything, which is super nice. Okay, more packing foam. And this must be the board. Okay, this is the moment, I guess, because we all want to see how good this looks. Wow, okay. Oh yeah. I might have to zoom my camera out slightly here. I'll see if I can zoom my camera out a little bit here for you. There we go. Wow, that looks great. Yeah, that is super, super nice. So nice, actually. You got this little illustration down here. You can see it here of the characters as well. That's really cool. Really, really cool. Just the starting characters there. So you got Gloomhaven in the middle, as you did before. You got the kind of little breakout area here. So this is like inside Gloomhaven. So this is actually the city of Gloomhaven. You got your achievement markers at the top here. Wow, yeah, this is really nice. This is like hang it on your wall type stuff. I mean, to be fair, the original Gloomhaven board was also really nice, and a lot of people did hang it on their walls. But I think like the Frosthaven map for me, that blew me away. And this is sort of like the same kind of level to me, really. To see kind of like I've seen this map so many times, and to see it in a new way with new artwork, because I really tried to not spoil myself on stuff inside this box. This is great. Yeah, this is really, really good. Well, I wonder what my other problem that I always had is that the board would end up ripping. And I had that with both Gloomhaven and Frosthaven, where like, because of the folding, it would just kind of rip along that edge there. You see that? That was one of the problems that I've had that with every single board. And I wonder if that's just because of maybe me, or perhaps it's just because like I abuse it a little bit because I'm constantly getting it out and putting it back in the box, because a game like this, you're going to take this board out and lay it out and pack it up. And the number of times you handle this is way more than a normal board. Yeah, this is super nice. Really, really clean. Really clean. That's awesome. Wow, okay, well, I'm sold. I'm sold. Let's zoom back in again a little bit more, shall we? Okay, there we go. That's a bit better. Good at those. Right, so let's have a look at this. I'm assuming that this is going to be the campaign tracker. So this is something that they put into Frosthaven, which was instead of you kind of like, I mean, I can't even remember how you were supposed to keep track in original Gloomhaven of where you were. I think it was just like a sheet, like a paper sheet, and you just tick stuff off, I think. From memory, I can't even remember. It's that long ago since I played the physical version. I've played so much more digital than I have physical. It's kind of like warping my brain a little bit. But anyway, this is definitely the system that you used in Frosthaven, where it's like calendar doors. So if you've ever had an advent calendar, it's like a calendar door. So you open these up as you kind of progress, and it tells you what's available, what's not available, and stuff like that. And you kind of go through, and these link together. So is it 3 here? Yeah. So these kind of link together like that. So you kind of fit quite nicely. That, and then there's a third one as well over here, which is probably the side scenarios, because they kind of show you where they're linked, right? Oh, there's another one. God, there's loads. Okay, so here's like another one. You can see like some of these ones, for example, that are not linked to anything. They'll probably be like side quests, side scenarios that you find through like the events and stuff like that. They're like one shot, one off type things, because they don't lead anywhere. But a lot of the other ones, like for example, this one, which is the first one, you can see that it's pretty much tracking all the way through. So this will be like your main kind of campaign. In fact, here's one. Yeah, this last one has basically just all side missions or something like that. There's also in this game as well, I don't know loads yet, and we'll probably get through it. Maybe we'll see some more components that will relate to it. But in this particular version, there's like reputation with several different factions. So kind of similar to Frosthaven actually, because in Frosthaven there's kind of like several different storylines that are going out, and they're kind of like a different faction kind of that you're going through that sort of story. And there's a faction system here in this that they've introduced now. So instead of you just having like the reputation of Gloomhaven, you actually have reputation with several factions. Whoops. So that will hopefully give you like a little bit more of like a meaty decision with what to do, because otherwise it was kind of a bit binary of like, oh, do I side with them or do I side with them? It was an A or B type situation. But hopefully there's going to be a little bit more flexibility in it here. And I'm wondering if perhaps the colors and stuff here are relating to what faction they might be involved with or something like that. But that'll be interesting to see. Like I said, I'm not going to, today we're just going to be opening the box up. We're not going to deep dive too much into the mechanics or what's changed. But of course, if we notice things, we'll talk about it. Okay, more punch board, big punch board, this one, huh? Huge punch board. Oozes, it's the same ooze artwork. I honestly thought they might have changed some of the artwork, but a lot of the enemy artwork seems to be the same. But I wonder if that's just because they quite happily just landed on it and it's not, yeah, the imps look the same, I think, or at least the same from Frosthaven. They might have changed between like those games, but the oozes definitely look the same. The dreaded oozes, they look the same. The pillars look nicer though, that's for sure. These like little pillar pieces, that actually looks more like a pillar than I think the originals did. Although the perspective's always a little bit strange with those for me. I always find that a little bit odd to look at. That's super cool. More punch boards. Oh my lord, these are all punch boards. There's a nice little hand hold here for you to be able to lift them up though. More stuff, more enemies. Oh, I like the artwork on this tile. Very rocky. A nice kind of cave. Yeah, like grassy scene on the back. That's like a slightly different terrain, right? On the back of this one. Am I going crazy? It's like a... I mean, maybe they just changed the style, but that's kind of like... Maybe not a desert, but... Yeah, that definitely looks a little bit more... It looks different to like other kind of terrain that I've seen before. Different kind of style. I wonder if we'll see more. I haven't been flipping these over, have I? So perhaps there has been more. Let me just check back on a few of the others. Ah, yeah. Yeah, here. This one looks a bit different too. This one. I guess it's, you know, fundamentally it's not that much different, but it just looks a little bit different. It's hard to explain. It's like when you go to the, I don't know, like the kind of desert area in Diablo, if you get that reference. That's the vibe I'm getting. In the new Diablo. I think the original Diablo is much more like sandy. Like Diablo 2 is much more sandy. More punch boards. Oh, that looks different. Oh, there's little quattrels. Oh, look at these. These are little quattrels. These are like maybe the town guard or something. See those? I'll try and zoom in a little bit on that one. Hopefully it will adjust, but I can't, you know, I can't promise because the lens is not always so good. See that? Little dude? Little quattrel dude? They're quite cool. All right, what else we got on here? Elements and stuff, objective markers, yeah, night demons. Again, the night demons I think is still the original artwork. It's another one of those tiles. And another one that's kind of like that. It's kind of like some kind of, I don't know, what do you call it, like a plains? Plains type looking thing? I don't know. Oh, I like this one with the water. That's cool. That's nice. That's a neat tile. Okay. Yeah, just like a bit more vibrant. I think it's maybe just they're more vibrant. I don't know if they're necessarily much different in the environments, but maybe it's just how vibrant they are. Like that's very green. Really good though. And again, cultists, looks like the same artwork again. But maybe they're quite happy with the monster art. Maybe they're just, you know. I know that like pretty much all of the characters have been changed. Obviously the tiles have been improved. Perhaps it was too much. Perhaps they looked at it and perhaps the budget was like crazy. I mean, that's a lot of artwork to redo. It's a huge amount of artwork. And it's not bad artwork. I quite like it, so. Yeah, that's nice. Bit of blood there. Again, a little bit more, is it a little bit more gory than the original? The original wasn't particularly gory, you know, because they didn't really have this extra detail, like blood splatters and stuff like that weren't really a thing. But then in Jaws of the Lion, they used quite a lot of blood splatters, which was quite interesting because it was, I guess, more of a, I'm not going to say family friendly, but it was the starter game, right? And it was in Target and it was a little bit more widely available. So it's kind of, I find that interesting that they went a little bit darker with the scenery design in that game. But I like it. I prefer it. I do like it. I think you know, it's Gloomhaven. It's gloomy. You know, it's not a nice place a lot of the time. That's a cool tile. That's a really cool tile. It's got like this kind of like magma or something coming through at the bottom there. And it's got like a broken sword at the top there. Is that a chest? That is a chest. I wonder if people are going to get confused. I wonder if people are going to get confused and be like, well, there's definitely a treasure chest there. Can I have a treasure chest? I wonder if it's used in a scenario and that actually you do put a chest there. But there's definitely a chest printed on the board. They say these tiles are just falling away from the punch board. Absolutely just falling away from the punch board. Yeah, really nice. Man, I love the fact the tiles are just, they're flat. They're flat. Still can't believe it. The number of times I've tried to like stream Frosthaven, but my tiles are warped. So I can't, I physically like, I'm just struggling and I'm having to weigh them down, or I'll set the scenario up like the night before and just put a load of heavy things on it to try and flatten it. It just was really frustrating when I was trying to live stream it, but these are perfect. These are absolutely perfect. I'm not saying I'm going to live stream the game. Don't read between the lines there. But like I said, I very much rigged this up today last minute to try and do this because a lot of you guys asked me to do it. So, ooh, new enemies though. Or potentially new artwork for existing enemies. They might just be vermling scouts or something. They might just be scouts. Because there's like, so here's like the shamans. Shamans. I always get grief when I say that wrong. Right? Oh, again, sorry about this lens. This camera's not the best at focusing, but you can kind of see that, hopefully. Yeah. So I think that's just new artwork. Potentially. But then this one looks a lot meaner. See that? It's like, it's got a, it looks cool. But it could just be a scout. it could equally just be the new scout artwork. Well, there's a lot of them, and there's a lot of scouts. There's more there. There's generally a lot of scouts. So, well, this tile's weird. Oh, it's got like loads of giant like fossils or something. See that? Let me zoom back out again a little bit. Sorry. Apologies if I'm not capturing everything. I'm trying my best here. There's fossils. And just a standard interior room in a building somewhere. That's cool though. And there's like a, it's like a head of something. That's cool. This molten room is really cool too. Ah, the tiles just look so much better. They really do. And it's funny to say that, like, you know, the difference something like that can make, but it does really help immerse you a little bit more, and it makes you excited to play as well, right? Because you're just going, oh man, it's gonna be fun to play on these tiles. Yep, more stuff. Oh, these look like some different enemies, maybe? Okay, or maybe not. So we got, what's this? Automaton, maybe? Golem of some sort? Golem? 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 Again, another word that I say sometimes wrong and people get upset with me. Possibly new enemy, but probably not. I think this is probably like, this could be a boss actually. Getting boss vibes. What about this one? This is gotta be a boss of some sort. Or a summon, maybe. Could be a summon. There's like a lot of changes to the classes, so I wouldn't be surprised if suddenly there's like something we're not seeing. I think this could be a summon. Yeah. I'm not going to say what summon I think it might be, but I think it might be a summon. Yeah, same bear artwork, same living bones artwork. Oh, well, no, that's a golem. That must be a boss of some sort. Or like an automaton or something. That's a golem. I think the snake artwork's changed. They look bigger. The tiles look bigger for the snakes. They were really small from memory on the other games. Like tiny. That seems bigger. And slightly different, but not much different. But that seems a little bit different to me. Harrowers look the same, I would say. Round tracker. I mean, I don't think this has changed. I don't think, maybe it's been cleaned up slightly. I mean, did it need to change? Absolutely not. And more of those enemy nameplates. Ooh, yeah, you see, look, this is probably the best one to illustrate what I was saying about it looking like a different terrain, you know? That looks new. Like a new terrain type almost. I mean, it won't be, but it looks like it is. There's a lot of boss standees on this thing too. There's a huge amount of boss standees on this one. I don't know how much we want to look at these, but let's just say the artwork looks relatively unchanged on some of them. But on others, it has clearly changed. I mean, Jaxera, we can look at Jaxera, she's on the box, right? So Jaxera is a character in the game. You see her multiple times. Yeah, I think some of these haven't changed. I hope this scenario has changed. That's all I'll say about that. Okay. More stuff. Okay, there's quite a lot of different things on here. Okay. Oh, so they changed like the Inox stuff? Yeah, they've changed all the artwork for the Inox. Which I guess would make sense because they changed a lot of the class looks as well, like the Brute, for example, being that same thing. It kind of makes sense as to why you'd be like, wow, we're going to change that. Then we kind of need to change all Inoxes, right? It's because otherwise they would look maybe out of place. So I can kind of understand that. So yeah, new, I guess that's just like guards. And then I'm not sure what that one is. It seems to be one of them. Maybe that's a boss. Yeah, and then shamans? I guess shamans, yeah. And then scouts, or archers. Archers, I should say. A lot of those. That's a new thing. That is a funky looking thing. Mysteries to unravel. These guys too, actually, they were new on the other sheet as well. Again, I'm presuming that these are just like guards. No, they can't be guards. They don't look guardy enough. But then you got archers. Scouts again. It's always scouts. Wow, we are out of punch boards. So that is all of the punch boards. So let's have a look into what's in the bottom of this. So we got our standees. Looks like we got some red. Is there an additional color in here? Because I don't think the original game had that many colors of standee. I think you might have had like one for elites and one for normal, and that was it. So now it looks like you got like allies, which is really, I think they added that in Frosthaven too. Or maybe even in Jaws of the Lion actually. But yeah, having like blue ones for like allies, super useful. Yellow ones for elites, white ones for regular enemies, and I guess red ones for bosses. Yeah, that's nice, you know, it's just one of those little things that they've learned, you know, makes the game a little bit easier to see on the table. Loads and loads of baggies, you're gonna need those. What else have we got? So we're not gonna go too much into these. So that's city event deck, or some various cards. We're not gonna open these now, we're gonna go through them. That's all massive spoiler territory. Road events too, we're not gonna go through that at all. Same reason. What else have we got here? Modifiers? We can probably look at modifiers, although, I mean, I don't know how exciting looking at modifying cards would be. I mean, they look the same. These are the monster ones. So there will be player ones somewhere as well, but they look, I mean, they look the same. There's no graphical difference there, so I don't think we really need to worry about that. This may be spoiler. I'm going to quickly look off camera. Yeah, I think that might be spoiler stuff. I'm not going to go into that. What's this? Oh, so these battle goals. Can have a little quick look at the battle goals actually, because I think maybe if they've changed some of these, because there were some that were not good, and they have definitely kind of changed them over the years when they've learned what works, what doesn't work. So maybe we'll just have a quick look, thumb through these. Accountant, Acrobat, yeah, these are all ones. Bastion, is that a new one? Occupy a door hex adjacent to 2 or more enemies at the end of a round. I think that's a new one. Bully, I think that one's been in before. Cleaner, possibly? Closer. Yeah. Yeah, that's been in for a while. Yeah, Gambler, so yeah. Yeah, these all, there's maybe 1 or 2 in here, but these all look pretty similar. I wonder if the 2 checkmark ones are different. Okay. Oh, so Recluse. Oh yeah, you get more if there's more characters, yeah. Is there any 2s? Ooh, spicy. Is that? Oh, here we go. I was gonna say, I was like, maybe they just decided they didn't want to do two checkmarks anymore. So assassin, yeah. Oh, that's an easy one. Kill an enemy before it takes its first turn. I mean, certain characters, that's just easy. As long as you don't miss, just don't miss. Yeah, Daredevil, that's been in before. Dawdler, that's been in. I don't know if that was in original Gloomhaven. That's definitely in Frosthaven. Duelist, yeah. Exterminator, yeah. Okay, so generally speaking, it looks like it's pretty similar, but maybe with a few different ones depending on, you know, ones that have worked well in Frosthaven. They've probably just whittled down the list a little bit to the ones that were just either too hard or people just didn't like, you know, not fun. I always say, like, I don't like the ones that are like, don't earn any XP. Those are the ones that I always have the problem with, because it's like, feels like contrary to the game, where it's like, oh, earn less than 7 XP. Well, as you're playing the game, you really want to try and earn XP, obviously, to level up. Like, that's the whole point of playing the game. So it's kind of like telling you to not play the game, which I just find that to be frustrating. Unless, of course, they would like to give you some kind of bonus at the end and say, oh, yeah, complete it and you get an extra 5 XP or something. Like, you get the check marks and 5 bonus XP to make up for the fact you didn't do any. Because, of course, all your big abilities give you XP. But, yeah, that was one that I've never really liked. The ones that kind of just, like, not, like, prevent you from playing the game, but kind of, like, hinder you or kind of, like, yeah. incentivize you to not play the game. Items, we won't go through these because I believe these are spoiler like blueprint items and stuff, so we won't go through those. Items will be interesting. We won't go through items because again, like, I don't think they're necessarily spoilers and it's a bit difficult to determine, so I don't really want to just go through this and potentially hit something. But this will be a very interesting change to this game because obviously weathered boots, this is kind of like the new starter boot, if you like. So instead of it being the +2 move, it's now +1 move. And that's been kind of like the way the game has been going. So a lot of those early game items that I know that we've really enjoyed playing with are basically, they're not there anymore because they were too powerful. So, you know, it's things like your stamina potion and stuff like that as well. So it'll be interesting to see what items we have available and kind of like what level they get to. But yeah, we're in the new world now where weathered boots is your starter boot, I'm afraid. And then these I imagine are going to be monster stuff. Yeah, so this is all the kind of monster abilities. The monster deck. Great, so we will get into one of these as well. So let's just open one, shall we? Let's open the brute, it's nice and simple. So we'll open one of these from the starters. I'm not going to open any of the unlockables in this video. So we'll open up Star just to see what we get in our packs. So we have our perk sheet and just generally our character sheet. Okay. Got the new player mat. So, well, I say the new, they've just got new artwork on them. There. And you've got description on the back. You've also now got this new thing that kind of came over from Frosthaven, which is the complexity rating, tells you if there's any elements that it works well with, and gives you a general sense of like how good the character is at different things, which is really nice because it kind of gives you that initial feeling of like, do I want to play this type of character? Like, is this character going to be my kind of thing? You know, is it going to be too hard, or, you know, I really want to do melee stuff? So yeah, I think that's a nice touch, and we'll see that going forward. But generally speaking, it looks pretty much the same, like templated the same as the Frosthaven ones. So just the new Bruiser artwork on there as well. Let's have a look and see what else we got. So we'll have a look at a few cards. Cards and spoilers has always been a bit of a weird topic. Technically, higher level cards, so like your level 2 and onwards, are not considered spoilers because we're kind of encouraged to look for a build. So look through a little bit to see, okay, this is the direction I'd like to go. And I do encourage players to do that because it just makes the game a bit easier for yourself. Although I do know that a lot of people just like the surprise of seeing, okay, what card do I get at level 2 and level 3? And kind of making the decision as they go along because they just enjoy that experience, which is a totally fine way to play the game. We won't go through any of the unlockable cards. We'll just go straight through what the starter ones are. If I can open this pull tab, I am rubbish at pull tabs. I've never been able to do them. They're the bane of my life. I'm just going to use scissors, and this is going to make a lot of people upset, but that's what I'm going to do. Sorry, everyone. Is that going to work? No, I still can't open it. Come on. Come on, where is it? Come on. Come on, pull tab. Just this one time. To make me... Maybe we won't be looking at the bruiser today, guys. Maybe that's not going to be happening. I am trying. Ooh. Come on, yeah. The thing is, they're so tightly vacuumed that I can't even get one of the edges off. Okay, here we go. Whew, phew. All right. That would have been embarrassing. I mean, I guess it was already kind of embarrassing, but there you go. So these are like the new cards. Let's zoom in a little bit on these, shall we? A little bit. I don't know if you can see them a little bit better now. Again, I'm sorry that the camera kind of, the focus is a little bit weird on this lens, so I'm trying my best here. We won't go through these too much, but if you have a look at the cards, generally speaking, they look Obviously the templating has changed a little bit, more in line now, or is in line with the Frosthaven way of templating abilities. We've got this nice subtle kind of like artwork going on in the back here. Again, that was something they brought in Frosthaven, where they ended up kind of having a bit more of a vibrant background. Subtle but vibrant, just to kind of give each character their own like feel. So you've got that here. Trample, eye for an eye. Cards feel good, you know, they feel like the cards, you know. Skewer. Skewer remaining pretty much the same is a bit of a shocker. Very good abilities though. Overwhelming Assault. Balanced Measure. Love Balanced Measure, so much fun. Grab and Go. Warding Strength. Hey, still... Hey, do you know what? Like, they're not necessarily nerfing everything, right? Again, I'm sorry about the... I don't know how well this has gone today with the focus, and I apologize if it has been poor. But Warding Strength 2 and Disarm. I mean, that's such a good ability. I'm kind of surprised that that was still in the game, but I think it goes to show you that they're not trying to just nerf stuff for the sake of nerfing it, right? Okay, Leaping Cleave, same again as well. Good abilities. Yeah, looking good. Looking good. What else have we got in here? So we should have some tokens, hopefully. Yeah, we do. So we have Standee. We have our token for initiative track, and a couple of tokens for like active abilities and things. Perks, more perk stuff. And that is everything that that's everything in there, everything we'd kind of expected to see. Now I'm hoping that there is another layer here, down here somewhere. There we go. All right. I was gonna say, the minis have got to be somewhere. Right, let's find those. So we've got all of our minis here. We've also got some envelopes. We're not gonna go into those, of course. Envelopes, sacred, spoiler territory. There's personal quests here as well. There is... Oh, I think this is like the random dungeon thing, right? I don't think I ever did this, but you can kind of like, if you wanted like a one-shot, just random dungeon, just to play for fun. I think this is the kind of thing that you can do. That's part of it. Some people really like that. You got your trackers, so 4 trackers for 4 players. You got your monster stat sheets there. They look pretty much exactly the same. I don't think the design of that has changed at all. But it looks like there's a boss on the other side. Just got some stuff. And you got your sleeves to put them in. And then what else were there? Oh, some loose cards. Oh, just some guides, player references on the different stuff. Okay, so this would be a good way of finding out what is changed. What did they add? Okay, so we've got something called Safeguard, which is prevent the next negative condition, then remove. Okay. That could be pretty clutch in certain situations. Then Ward, which we know about because that's been in Frosthaven. Half the damage round down. Invisible Strength and then Bless. So that's the only 2 new ones then. Safeguard and Ward, and they kind of both have the same purpose, right? Ward is to half the amount of damage that you take, so prevent a big attack. And Safeguard is to prevent like a really bad negative condition. So obviously getting cursed is not nice, I would say. Like over time, curses can really hurt you. Like one curse might not, especially if you can have a lot of advantage on your attacks. But yeah, cursing over time can be really problematic. Obviously getting poisoned can prevent you from healing, which is really annoying as well. But I guess the big ones would be like stun, immobilize, disarm. Those can just be absolute killers, like just complete round killers for you. So some dividers down in the bottom here as well, looks like, just to help you divide up. I imagine probably in here or something when you start doing your events and stuff. You got your campaign going. So let's have a look at some of the minis, shall we? So let's look at the Brute mini, seeing as we just looked at the Brute. That kind of makes a lot of sense. Can I get him out of the box? I can. Okay, nice. We've got a little brute sort of stamp on the bottom there, which is nice. I don't think they had that in the originals, but they've been doing that, I think, in Frosthaven. And then, yeah, that mini is pretty nice, actually. It's a really nice dynamic pose for that character. It matches the player art, but that is good. Right? Again, I'm trying to like zoom in, but I don't think this is really helping. I can zoom in, zoom out a little bit, but I don't think it's really helping too much. Because the focus is always a little bit strange. Hopefully you can see that quite well. Yeah, that's a nice mini. Feels chunky. Yeah, feels good. I'm sure people are going to really enjoy painting these. Should we look at a few more? Let's do a couple more of like the starter characters, because why not? I don't think we necessarily need to look at their boxes, but I think looking at the minis is always fun. So Spellweaver. Is it me, or does it just look like she's putting 2 middle fingers up? Questionable. Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's supposed to be fire, I guess. Magic of some sort. And if you paint it, yeah. But to me, from a distance, I was looking at it, I was like, is she just flipping me off? You might be flipping us off. Nice, though. Again, a little bit more dynamic than the last one. The minis have always been pretty good, I thought, apart from maybe the very, very first printing of, like, the one that was, like, you know, only, like, I don't know how many copies were made, like a few thousand or something. Like, the very, very first one, I think, might have had... But I think the minis in general have always been great, and Frosthaven's got great minis, too. Let's look at the Tinkerer. The smallest, probably the smallest. Maybe not the smallest mini, but probably. Front runner. Oh, wow, okay. That is cool. All right, that's much nicer. I don't know how much you can see there, but try and show as much as I can. It's got like a gun pointing at the ground, a huge gun, and then another little handgun above. It just looks way cooler. I think before they were, it's not too dissimilar pose, but instead of the big gun, they just kind of had like their little, like their little bow and arrow, or like their little crossbow, like their kind of like wrist crossbow, I think it was. So that just looks like, it's more like steampunky and stuff, I guess. Like the Quattrolls, depending on the way you look at them, I mean, they are kind of quite steampunky anyway. I do think they've leaned into that more, especially with like the abilities and stuff, because the abilities that they get do sound more like, okay, they're firing a big gun. But when you looked at some of the artwork, they were kind of a little bit more subdued. But they've definitely leaned into that now with the artwork a lot more, which I think is good, because it gives the Quattrolls a really good identity. It's Quattroll, that's little Tinkerer. So let's have a look at the Scoundrel, shall we? New Scoundrel. So the Scoundrel has got like completely new artwork. Very different, obviously. It's kind of a bit of a boring pose, if I'm going to be honest. I feel like it's kind of boring. Looks like she's drawing a knife from kind of like a sheath, just a hair on her kind of leg. But that's kind of boring. Not gonna lie. Yeah, that's a little bit. That's sort of a bit disappointing, I would say. It's just a bit boring. Like, you know, it's not very dynamic at all. She's literally just standing there. Had to do this one, of course. My favorite character in all of Havenverse. The Crackheart, Craig. He's quite small. Is he just me? Is he... I mean, yeah, that's small. That is cool though. I like the textured base. Like, you kind of got a rocky base. So if you're going to paint, then you can make that base look really nice. Much more of a more dynamic pose, but I think the original mini was pretty good too. That's why a lot of people liked it. Yeah, I think it's like, it's not better, it's not worse. It's good. And then finally, let's look at the Mind Thief. Maybe this will be the smallest one. possible. Okay, so they're like on a little, kind of like on a little, I don't know, is that a box or something there, I guess? A little bit of wood or something. Like there's just something that's kind of poking out of the ground there that they're stood upon. I like this one. I think this is nice. Again, well, oh man, these will be really nice painted. I don't personally paint. I've tried with some games, but I get very, it's never good enough for me. So I ended up just not bothering. It's the kind of thing that maybe I might send my minis off to someone and let them paint them for me. Because yeah, I'd much rather someone who knows what they're doing does it. Yeah, that's cool. All right, so I think that's pretty much everything that's in the box. I mean, we can't really open anything more. Obviously, the rest of this is all going to be spoiler stuff, so we're not going to touch any of that. But you know, we get a good general sense for the quality here, and it's great. You know, it's like I said, the most thing that I'm impressed with is the tiles, which sounds bad because of course the tiles should always arrive flat, but it's just been an ongoing issue. So I'm just happy that that's come correct this time. And then yeah, the new artwork and stuff, some of the new standees looks really, really good. So that's great. I'm really, really happy with that. We can take a quick look at the solo stuff maybe, but I don't know how much people really want to look at the solo stuff. So I think most people, if you got it through the Kickstarter or the crowdfunding, I'm sure you probably did get this, because it's kind of like, yeah, you should get this. It's always fun. And the items are always like the biggest fun part of it, because have an item that's dedicated to you that really aligns with your character is just fun. So yeah, we've got these. Should we open these? Yeah, why not? Let's just have a quick look. I don't think this is spoiler territory, really. I don't think so. You kind of like, you'd want to know what your scenario is, and you kind of want to know what your reward is. To know if it's worth doing, but maybe not. Maybe some people just like to do them anyway. But yeah, this is just, yeah, I mean, it's just formatted exactly the same as the main campaign stuff. And the hook shield, which is the brute one. So yeah, we can look at the brute. Why not? So I don't know if they've changed a lot of these. I think potentially they might have. Some of them were a bit problematic, as in the way that they were kind of good for other characters, right? Which was awkward. So they ended up making a new rule, which is where that only the character who it is associated to can use it, which is yeah, that made the rule much better. But there were also some that were just rubbish, like they were just so bad. I think the crowd cart one, for example, was not good. So we'll be interested to see how the balance level of these is. We won't go into a full review today. It'll be interesting to see what all of the changes are and how they managed to do that. But it was definitely an area that needed to be addressed, and I know that they addressed it, so that's really good. And then the last up, I guess, would be the removable sticker sheet, which I don't know how exciting that can really be. It's more stickers, or stickers that can be removed and re-put on. Like I said, you're only ever going to worry about this if you are interested in playing the game multiple times, or potentially you might want to, like, you know, gift it or sell it or move it on somewhere else after you've finished. Then this can be a really good way of doing that, because you can kind of reset the game to a brand new level, really. Except for obviously any kind of minor scuffs or something that you might have through playing the game itself. But yeah, no, I will recommend this for anyone who is wanting to keep the game in their collection for a long time, and potentially wants to play it multiple times as well. Great. Well, I think that pretty much covers everything. So hopefully you enjoyed that. Hopefully that gave everyone a really good sense of what's inside second edition, or what they're not really calling second edition. They're just calling it Gloomhaven now, but probably the right move, really. Just be careful, like I said before, about making sure that you do get this version of the game and you don't end up buying any of the old versions that I'm sure there are probably still a lot of them out there. You could also maybe get a nice bargain though, having said that, on the original version, because if you are just looking to get into Gloomhaven, you're just looking to play the game, then that might be a really good avenue of doing it on the cheap rather than getting this version, which is obviously going to be full MSRP now, probably for the foreseeable future. But if you are someone who's thinking about getting into it and you're not too worried about some of the changes, like I said, Gloomhaven is an excellent game. There's a reason why it was #1 on Board Game Geek for a very long time, and it's still probably in the top 5 right now. There's a reason why it's so beloved and people like it, and it was that version that put it there. It wasn't this version that put it there, so that's important to state as well. So yeah, if you are in the market for a bargain, perhaps look and see if anyone's selling off old stock of the original, if you want to save the money and still get to play and try some Gloomhaven. Yeah, apart from that, guys, hopefully you're all receiving your versions soon. If you are waiting for it, I hope you get it nice and quickly. And we'll talk more about this edition when I actually get a chance to play it sometime in the future when I have some space. Okay, guys, well, I'll catch you in the next one. Bye.